name is
question.
Sarah.
Yeah. Pronouncing it funny.
Wow. Wow, this is a party set. I like this.
Yeah, we are all hammered.
Beautiful. That was in here.
Yeah, it's water.
Okay.
Let's jump right in. Oh, first we have film of you taking out a couple guys out on our field. We want to show you how
Okay.
intimidated everybody is of you. It's like you don't even have to touch them anymore. This is, that guy's dead now. That's my producer.
Yeah.
He's now dead. I just need you to provide me with
Yeah.
some new people.
I wish it worked that well on the field. That'd be great.
Well, it's almost the same.
Pretty much.
Pretty similar.
Pretty much, yeah.
Tell me, you're here with Bose.
I am.
What are you doing?
I'm just here talking about headphones. I mean, before the game, we listen to music. In the off-season, we listen to music. So I need the highest quality music for my workouts, obviously, and Bose always provides that for me. So it's good stuff.
What music are you listening to when you work out?
All different stuff, from the old school like Metallica, AC/DC, to new stuff. And we have everything from Eminem to Drake to Adele to
Classical,
Bieber. Everything,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
very
classical
classical.
music.
I knew it. I knew it.
Absolutely.
On the rowing machine.
Yeah.
Crying my eyes out.
Exactly.
Why did you leave?
You saw the Patriots twice this year. Once on the field, once on the
Correct.
sideline. What do you expect to see Sunday? How do you think this is going to play out? You've seen it up close.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's two very good offenses. I think Tom Brady, rightfully so, has been talked about as the greatest of all time. I think that their offense has always been effective. But I think the Falcons are great, too. I think Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, those guys, they may not be the flashiest personalities, but they do such a good job on the field. It's going to be a lot of fun. As a defensive guy, I came into the Texans with Brooks Reed, who plays for the Falcons now, so obviously I have a little soft spot in my heart for him, and I hope he does well.
But you think Brady's the greatest ever? Is that what you said? You think?
I think he should most definitely be in the conversation. He's incredible. I think I have so much respect for what he does, how hard he works. The rings speak for themselves. The level that he plays at right now is unprecedented.
So yes, then.
You can write what you want. Go ahead. Just make up the headlines. I hear that's what we're doing nowadays. We're just making up headlines
No,
anyway,
not
right?
us. Not us. Like I said, we're always drunk, so we don't make any mistakes. You had never missed a game before this season. We were talking about this earlier. You've told us a story about missing a game and what that felt like.
Absolutely. My question, honestly, to you is, and be honest.
Right.
You're from Wisconsin, so
Right.
you're authentic.
Right.
What does it feel like? What is a player going through mentally and physically when you have to sit back and watch your team perform without you, and they're performing at a high level?
Right. No, it's very difficult to have to watch that because you've put in the time with them through OTAs, through training camp. You've been with the guys. You know what it's like. And so to sit at home and watch from your TV during the time when you can't be on the sidelines, it's very difficult because it's almost surreal because you're watching it on TV and you've seen football games on TV before, but you're like, oh, wait a second, that's Whitney, that's today. Those are my guys. Like, those are the guys I'm with every day. But watching them in the way that they played and being able to take so much pride in how they progressed and how they grew, and also knowing that I get to go back on that field with those guys this coming season, and we all get to wreak havoc together. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that.
I've never played professionally. I don't
Really?
know if you can tell by
you
looking
sure?
at me. Yeah. When you're watching from home, are you like, oh darn, they lost?
No.
Like a little happy?
Jeez,
Don't
who
you
are
want to be
you?
like, oh, they needed me?
She's an evil Patriots
No, but I
fan.
will say that during a game, there are points where, whether it's a key third down or it's a play that needs to be made, you look at it and you're like, this is where I need to make that play, or that's the situation that I thrive for. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you watch the big time situations and you live for those situations, and not being able to help in that situation, that's very tough to do.
Yeah.
So I have another question for you, because I've experienced this when I was playing. When you're sitting back and you're watching how impressive your teammates are playing, and some of the plays that they make, does it run across your mind that, man, I do that and even better? Like, I'm being honest.
Right.
I'm being honest, because when I watch receivers make catches in traffic
Right.
and make a ridiculous catch, in my mind I'm like, wow, I really
Right.
do that. And now I'm standing here kind of thinking like,
Right.
how do I do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a perfect example. So obviously with this time off, I had a chance to watch my youngest brother play the most. He played at Wisconsin this year, and I was watching their game against Purdue. And they were throwing a swing pass, and he picked it off and ran to the house. And literally, I got up off my seat, jumping like going crazy in my house. And I took a second and threw it all, and I was like, wait a second, this must be what it feels like when somebody watches me. And so it's one of those things where you realize how special it is and how unbelievable it is. And while you're doing it in the game, you just think that that's what you're supposed to do, make the play and everything. But when you see it from that perspective, it brings a whole new meaning to it, and it's really special.
I have a question really quick, because I think you're one of the most beloved people in the NFL.
Oh, thank you.
And I think you're really funny, so I think that's always really cool when an athlete does that. And I know that they've talked about you going and playing any other places, but do you ever think that maybe you will be even more loved if you go play for the Golden State Warriors? Because a lot of people, when they stack a team, people love it.
Great, you're fantastic. I like the comedic angle that you bring to this. You could be with Nick and his hot takes over there. It's fantastic.
There's something hot about. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway.
So,
There's nothing hot about that.
I got to Houston in 2012. I got there right after you got there.
Right.
And I saw, like, up close and personal what it turned into. It kind of changed the way I look at the media, because this is what I saw. I saw a guy, J.J. Watt, who was kind of, relatively speaking, unknown out of Wisconsin. Like, when you drafted, it's not like you were the guy who say it's going to go #1. You have the amazing moment in the playoff game that put you on the map.
Right.
You win Defensive Player of the Year, and then off the field, you become maybe the NFL's go-to guy of doing great stuff, doing stuff with kids before the game. And what I'm getting to is this. And then you kept doing great stuff. You never got in trouble. You never, like, called out a teammate. And at some point, people were like, you know what? He's too good of a guy. I think it's phony, or I think he's acting, or I think it's for his brand. And I was like, man, if I'm another player, I'm like, okay, so if we do bad stuff, we get crushed.
Right.
If we're too good, we get crushed.
Right.
And so how frustrating, because I know you know that exists. Like, people wonder, like, oh, JJ's just doing it for the camera.
Right.
But people in Houston know there's a lot of stuff you do that you will not allow a camera to be there for.
Right.
How frustrating is that for you when it seems like the biggest criticism of JJ Watt, he's too good, he's too nice. Like, how's that feel?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you about it. I wish I could sit here and say, you know, I didn't listen to any of that, I don't know it. But early on, especially as you're coming up, and like you said, I came out of Wisconsin, not many people know me, and then as the fame starts to come, it's exciting. You're like, this is awesome, this is great. I want to keep doing good because I think this is really cool that we can set this good example. And then as you go through it and people start to rip on you for the very thing that they said they loved you for, then you start to, I'm going to be honest, you start to question it. You'd be like, well, why don't they like this? Why did they like it and now don't they like it? And you really start to get inside of your own head, and it's a very tough time. And you go through social media, you go through all these things, and you're like, I don't know anything about this. Is this how it is for every superstar? Is this how it's always been? But then you get to a point where you're like, some of these people are going to say stuff no matter what you do. You could go out there and you could do the nicest thing for the nicest person, and they're still going to rip on you. So it becomes just respecting yourself, understanding that you can control you, and trying to spread the best positive message that you can, and being the best ambassador and role model that you can be.
But do you ever see an old lady that needs help crossing the street and say, not today?
No, you know what?
Just, I helped you last week, not today.
The internet said that I was too nice. You're going on your own.
Yeah.
We're going to see if you can make it.
Is that honestly what you need those Bose headphones for?
That's
just
it.
to drown
Just
out
shut
all
it out.
the noise?
Yeah.
All the old ladies like, help me, JJ. No, Deborah.
Lady, don't you read Twitter? Let's go.
I did this last week.
You mentioned the fame,
Right.
and so I've, like, people know me, knows that I've always said I want to be famous, right? But I've spent this whole week with actual famous people, like real like people don't even ask for a picture with them; they just take a picture of them, like, to document that they saw them.
Right.
And I was like, man, that type of fame could be exhausting. You got that type of fame very quickly,
Right.
and from watching you from afar, it seemed at least at some point you didn't totally know how to deal with it. Not because you were acting bad, but I remember you talked about how it's tough for you to date.
Right.
You can't go to the grocery store, things like
It's
that.
still tough for you to date JJ.
Not too tough.
But I think it seems like in the last maybe 18 months, that's changed a little bit. Can you tell me, do I have it right, and what has changed, and what was it like?
Well, you definitely have it right, because nobody gives you a blueprint for how to do it. Nobody says, hey, you're going to end up being famous, so this is how you should handle it. It's just you're learning as you go, and we're all learning through experience. And The harder it gets is when the fame is sustained, because there's a lot of flash in the pan fame, but as it continues and as it grows, you have to learn how to deal with it. And like you said, I think over the last year or so, especially with the injury, I think the injuries actually helped me a lot with that, because having to take a step back and not just being on the constant straightforward path really gave me some new perspective, gave me a new outlook, and made me realize really how special this all is, but also realize who's important, what's important, and whose opinions matter the most to me. And I think that's what I have to remember, is as long as I'm making my family, my friends proud, and I can go home every night, and tell my family that I'm doing the best that I can to make them proud, that's all that really matters.
Speaking of learning how to deal with it, Brock Osweiler. Rick Smith said today, we got to get better production out of the quarterback position. You're not a quarterback, so I know, but what? Do you agree with that statement?
What did he say?
You've got to get better production out of the quarterback position.
Oh, I don't think that's an outrageous statement by any means. I think that obviously the quarterback in the NFL is the position that touches the ball every single play, and that's the position that can affect the game the most. So the quarterback playing at a high level is very key to a team having success. So I'm sure that Brock would be the first to tell you that he obviously wants to go out there, continue to improve, and get better.
Can I ask you a question?
Feel free.
Because again, I don't play. I've noticed that Brock, when he hands off the ball, he uses a lot of flair with his arms. Is that a thing that he's? We have video of it. I think we're gonna roll it, but he's just flair with the. It's very dramatic.
That's pretty good. That's funny.
It's super dramatic. And
Carry on.
yeah, take the ball.
That's funny.
Yeah,
How did you notice that? What did you
I was watching the All-22 and I was like, I totally know.
You know what? That guy hands it off.
Just let him know. I notice, I see it, and I put a word into Broadway for him.
I will. I got it. That's gonna come up now.
Yeah, bring it up.
Great.
Let me know what he says.
Yeah, I will.